Hello my friends, update. This is an update of my garden. It is April the 20th, 2020, and I'm just showing you my dragon fruit that I raised from seed. I was telling some friends about it on Facebook last night. They're in two pots, they're only in two pots. I don't know if you can see very well the pots there. Yeah, I raised them from seed, and these are about 15 years old. And they are pot bound. They've been sitting in these pots for, eight to 10 years they've been in these same pots. You know, in many ways, I don't know a lot about these things, so in many ways they've been quite neglected. I know there's a lot of things I should be doing that I'm not doing. You know, that they're maybe not, you could say they're not in the best of health. They could be made better with some more care though. They still put out some healthy branches though that would be really good for cuttings. And the last few years I've just started, I water them about every second day. They don't get much rain. As you can see, it's covered there, unless the storms blow the rain in from the north. But yeah, they're covered. They don't get a real lot of summer sun. They get a lot of winter sun though. The north is over there, so you know, in winter when the sun leans to the north, here in Australia, they get a lot of all-day sun in winter and much less sun. They get about 5 hours of afternoon sun in summer. But as you can see, like, that's a pretty good sized fruit, hey? It's quite big. And I've been, the last few years I've been giving these, there was quite a few years I wasn't getting any fruit really. But the last few years I've been adding a little sulphate of potash, and that's made an incredible difference. And this is these fruit here, I'm going to pick these after I film. So yeah, I think there's about 5 seedlings I have in those two pots. And yeah, they've been there for, you know, 8 to 10 years in those pots. They've been about 15 years on that patio since I raised them from seed. And so yeah, I'll be picking these few fruit as soon as I finish this and eating them immediately because I'm hungry. And I really love these fruit. These are really yummy fruit. And yeah, before these, was it 4? There was one that came off yesterday actually. So yeah, 5 fruit. Is there any more? Actually, I think there is another one up the back, so that you can't see from there. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that you can't see, and the 6th one that fell off yesterday. So yeah, I'm happy with that. For just 2 pots. And before they've even finished, they've put out these new flowers. And hopefully a lot of these are going to hold. A lot of these new flowers will hold, hopefully. Some are dropping off. But it's not a self-pollinating variety. Ideally it puts out a lot of flowers, and it's another thing I discovered is over the years is often they used to drop the flowers, and then I heard I should be self-pollinating by hand. And then a few 6 or 8 months ago or longer, I got someone gave me an idea from Facebook about just leaving banana peels. Just hang banana peels around plants like this, not just necessarily dragon fruit, other fruit as well, and let the insects cross-pollinate. Just leave some rotting fruit around, and the insects on the rotting fruit will cross-pollinate. And I tried the banana peels and it didn't work so well, so I'd just leave on the night the flowers that come out, I just leave a plastic bag of rotting fruit here on the bonnet of my car. So as you can see, this is on the second story. So yeah, I've got to stand on my car, and it's hard to get to these flowers to cross-pollinate anyway. So I just leave a bag of rotten fruit here and let the insects do it. And I'm finding it works quite well. So I'm getting even more fruit. And although leaving the bag of rotten fruit attracts rats and mice, so you know, it's best to, it's just one night that they flower usually, although this was a little scattered. These flowers sort of opened over a few days, but I just left the bag of rotten fruit scraps, fruit peels and stuff like that, and let the insects do the cross-pollinating during the night. So yeah, that's a longer rave about my seed-raised dragon fruit. As many of you will know, the seeds in the dragon fruit are very small, but yeah, if you look after them, you can grow dragon fruit from seed. And this is a really delicious variety of dragon fruit. And yeah, another friend also wanted to know, I was telling him the roots from these dragon fruit, well, it's just matted. I think it's hard for you to see, but they've come out of the pots and it's matted and tangled into the timber on this patio. It's probably holding the patio together in a lot of ways. But it even sends down roots. These are some of the roots, but it'll send roots right down into the ground, and I have to chop them off because they get into my veggie garden down there. They send down big roots and they'll dry out my veggie garden. I'll send it up from the pot. So a friend on Facebook was last night asking me to show them the roots, and it's a bit hard, but here's some bigger roots in here. I don't know if you can see or not. See those roots? They're quite big, eh? Look at them, you can see where I've cut them back. Yeah, it is. I don't know if you can see. Hopefully you can see this. Look at this. I'm just pulling it out now. It hasn't quite reached the ground, but it's trying. Look at it. Big long roots coming out of my dragon fruit. Trying to get down to the ground. Yeah, I don't know if you can see real well. They want to see photos, so it might be difficult for them to see that if I take stills from this video. But yeah, so that's almost reached the ground. Actually it has even, hasn't it? I've just sort of pulled it out of that garden bed already, I think. It's just touching into the garden bed. So yeah, interesting, hey? And update on my papaya. Still getting disease. This is my Hawaiian gold on its last legs. Still getting a fair bit of fruit off it. These are my Thai papayas that are that are getting a disease. I found out now it's a phytoplasma disease, and it may not necessarily kill them, although it does eventually. But yeah, quite a shame. And it's spread by insects. So, you know, you remember I had a really good Thai papaya in that position there. It was bearing me lots of fruit, and it recently just shit itself. It died virtually overnight. But I planted these new papaya, and hopefully they're going to give me a bit of fruit next summer. They've grown fairly well up till now, but it's around this time of year they start getting the disease. And you see they're sort of getting a bunchy top, and they get a yellowing, and it's an insect that spreads it. If I could afford the time to spray more often to kill the insect, I mightn't have as many problems. But they say one of the ways to beat it is to just chop the plants back hard, which is what I've been doing. I'll just get down off this bonnet. See, as you can see, this tree is not very big, but it's put out a couple of good fruit already. Pretty good size. Very nice fruit. These plants have just got to the height, because like it's autumn now, soon it'll be winter. The sun's dropping down to the north, and hopefully they're just going to be the right height to get the winter sun. So if they're too short and too small, they get too much shade in this spot in winter, and then it gets very hard on them. But hopefully these won't be too bad in winter, even though they are diseased. Being extra positive, aren't I? It's another one that's sort of, you know, it might even need to be chopped back soon. Yeah, and this papaya, which has bared me a lot of fruit over the years, but it's seriously on its last legs. Oh yeah, I thought I'd point out, yeah, that satellite dish. That satellite dish. I'm nearly certain, I could be wrong, but I'm nearly certain that satellite dish is stressing my papaya and making them more prone to disease, because this was a very good spot for growing once, and since that dish has been in, I think it's 3 or 4 years now, you know, I lost one crop, it got sick, and I was selectively breeding anyway, and most weren't the right strain, so I chopped them out, planted the better strain that I'd selectively bred, a better Thai dwarf strain, and yeah, they're getting sick again. Although, you know, I've got this disease out the backyard too, so, you know, I could be wrong with my theory, but I really do think that satellite dish is adding to the stress, because papayas are a temperamental plant anyway, they're not an overly tough plant. But yeah, this thing, as you can see, this is something else I wanted to show you. It's getting so old now, and it gets a lot of fruit, and then it gets too heavy, and the whole branch breaks off before the fruit sets, and that's happened about 3 or 4 times now. And this year I've put these posts in to try and save these 2 branches from breaking off, and one of them broke off the other day anyway. I tied it up, but I just mustn't have tied it up in the right spot, and sadly I've lost this already. See, like, there was a fair bit of fruit there, and it's just broke off overnight, which is often happening. I'll pick this fruit up after showing you on the video. Some of it I'll be able to salvage, and I guess I can cook with all of it, you know. It's probably all okay for cooking. It's a very good fruit. It's a very delicious fruit still. The flavour isn't affected, even though this tree is quite old now. Well, it'd be, I don't know, it's about 8 years old, I think. It used to be taller than a 2-storey house. And then a cyclone broke it off, snapped off the main stem, and the whole thing was on a 45-degree angle, the remaining stem. So I pulled it up straight with a winch. I got a winch and some ropes and tied it to the house and pulled that stem up straight and tied it there. That rope's been there ever since, and it just took off again, and I got a lot more fruit. I put out two or four branches and got a lot more fruit, but since that sat dish has been in, and it's getting old anyway, and it's just had problems, and I do lose, you know, things like this happen. This happened, well, I think this is about the 5th time this has happened, actually, where I've had a branch that's put out a lot of heavy fruit, and then it just snaps off. See, that's a fairly big fruit there. Some of these will ripen up, I think, with some luck, and the ones that don't, I can cook with, I guess. I think it'll be cooking papaya. But yeah, that's a shame, isn't it? Because I tried to stake it, but I just mustn't have tied it up in the right spot, and it snapped off anyway. Oh well. Oh yeah, and that's a jackfruit I bought. Hoping to plant that when I get some space. And that is a mammy sapote. Really looking forward to growing that when I've got some space. Should be a really nice fruit. Tastes like sweet potato and brown sugar, they say, and the fruit can get quite big, bigger than a big pawpaw, big papaya. And all these things, oh, I just got to get my breath back. As you know, I got COPD, and I get out of breath really easy now. But I do this gardening for my health, and it is helping. I am getting a little bit better, I think. Anyway, yeah, these are some mozzies there. These are pomelos, and from the biggest pomelo fruit I've ever seen, which was as big as a basketball. So I planted these back in about late spring, and they're going quite well, even though the spot is a bit too shady, although it's getting more sun now that it's winter. And again, this one too, there's an insect that's bothering these trees, so I've got to regularly remember to spray. There's a grub that gets into that leaf, see that, and it curls under, and if I regularly spray with pyrethrin, well, every couple of months, It's time consuming. I've got to go through every leaf, sort of bend it back a bit and get the perethrin spray in there. And as soon as I do it, they start growing quick again. But if I don't get with the spray, they get stunted and then they eventually die. So, but yeah, I've got quite a few there. Red pomelo. I'm hoping to grow them to a few feet high, and then maybe I might sell them. I'll give some away to friends. Maybe sell some. I don't know, I'm just enjoying growing them, that's mostly. Plant the best one is the plan. Plant at least one a year. And oh yeah, these are my custard apples. My custard apple seedlings. That's a KJ pink seed, which is arguably, well, many would argue it's the best custard apple in Australia today. So I've got 3 of those, and I've planted seeds. All these are more seeds, fresh seeds from KJ Pink's fruit. That'll hopefully, they're just starting to break the surface now, I think. A few of them should come up in these pots. Yeah, I'll just go back to this front garden here. Something else I'd like to show you. Yeah, these are my sour sops. Look how well they're going, eh? It's been fun to grow these. See, look, that's the tallest ones. Are nearly 5 foot high now. And I've given a few of these away. I've got about 12, I think. A friend on Facebook traded me the seeds. I gave him some dwarf Thai red papaya seeds. He gave me these. And they're a little over a year old. Again, I've really enjoyed growing them. Very tough, very easy to grow. I've given a few away, and now, like, this is so these things, yeah, they don't get much sun in here. It's too shady, really, but they're doing fine. They like it, especially over summer. But I've really got to make more space for them. It's getting so cramped in here, and my poor old veggie garden, well, it's just completely shaded out because of these soursops. You know, this is under the veranda. Yeah, as you can see here, there's that root from the dragon fruit right down to the ground, from the ceiling, from the floor. There you go. Going right down to into my garden, drying out my garden bed. Well, yeah, I've got celery and mint and a few things in there, but the veggies are struggling because they just don't get any sunlight now. Although this is doing well. This is Ceylon spinach, which gets enough sun. Doing quite well. Hey, that's another soursop that was broken off by the gorillas when they came here and broke everything to pieces a few months ago. But yeah, it's come back. It's got snapped off, but it's coming back. It's the same as these, the soursop. And so yeah, it's going. These are going well. I would like to plant a few of these. Well, that's my plan, if I can clear some more space in the backyard. And because there's a grub there, the bugger. There's going to be more grubs, actually. Look at that, eh? Haven't seen a grub like that before. This has been the year of the moth. Actually, there's been so many moths. It's been unbelievable. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of grubs soon, because the moths are sort of dying off and they've planted their babies in all the growth. And there's going to be grubs everywhere soon, eating everything. Yeah, well, that's interesting. I'm going to see more of those. That's going to get a lot worse, I'm sure. That's the smoke. There we go. That's the beginning of what's going to be very bad if I don't start spraying a bit of pyrethrin soon and watching them. Oh yeah, strawberries. Not doing too bad. It's a better strain this time. Better tasting and fruit's a bit better. Yeah, as you can see, there's my dragon fruit up there. Yeah, I think up the back there, I thought I saw another dragon fruit. I hope a rat hasn't got it. Oh, and that's my cutting, my air layer cutting from the big I took from the big Hawaiian papaya. So yeah, he doesn't get much sun, but hopefully that's going to do well. Fingers crossed. Although it might be getting a bit of that disease too, that phytoplasma disease. I was reading a bit about it. There's about four or more different phytoplasma diseases. And they're all closely related. And even the experts have difficulty telling them apart. Because they all have very similar symptoms. But they're all caused by the same thing too. Well, it's a virus apparently that's spread by a type of, or different insects. I think some of the insects differ. But what I've got's a kind of weird looking stink bug that bites into the top of the papaya. And if I sprayed more, I might be able to stay on top of it. So, you know, I really do want to plant a lot more papaya here, and it's really sad to see that disease. So hopefully in the future, you know, if I have less of that undergrowth, less of that jungle in there, there's going to be less of those insects, and if I regularly spray with pyrethrin, you know, fingers crossed I'm going to get a lot of fruit. So I don't know, I'll keep going that same direction. Maybe it's a bit foolish, but I really do generally enjoy growing papaya, and it's not so much fun when they're dying on you though, but I'll keep persisting for now, and fingers crossed. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that banana. That's a really old dwarf banana strain. It's local. I got from some people. Unfortunately, it came with borers, so I got quite a few good fruit for a few years, but that's the last of those trees. It says there's borers in that ground, and you know, maybe I'm going to lose that as well. We'll see. I'm hoping to keep. I'm trying to nurse that tree along, and I probably should water with some neem actually to try and kill the borers. And hoping I can keep it alive. But if I lose it, well, them's the breaks. Because I've got a ladyfinger strain now anyway, and I'm planting in another spot. So I won't try planting any more bananas in that spot. See, I imagine there's borers in that soil in that spot, and hopefully it's not going to spread to the rest of the yard. So yeah, what else did I want to tell you about? Oh yeah, yep, I wanted to tell you about my custard apple. This is my KJ Pinks. I'm going to take some air layers off this soon, although it's probably getting too late in the year, but I'm going to try anyway, because these branches are always in the way. They've got to get out of the way. But yeah, I wanted to tell you, like, notice how it's just hanging. The branches just hang down. And that apparently is because they have grafted this tree with a horizontal branch. And they pick the horizontal branches because they bear more fruit. Horizontal branches always bear more fruit. So that, yeah, they've grafted a horizontal KJ Pinks onto this rootstock. And I've had this plant in this pot for about at least 5 years now. And it's been a drag in so many ways. It just keeps sending out horizontal branches. The damn thing won't grow up. And you can see I've got a stake there. I put a tall slat of wood in there to tie the branches up to try and get them to grow upwards. and they just keep hanging down. But yeah, I've picked a few fruit. There was the first year that this thing flowered. It was like about 3 years after I had it. It was utterly covered in flowers, and it's supposed to be self-pollinating, but at the time it was too young, and I just picked all the flowers off. I just wanted to let it get stronger. And the next 3 years after that, it hasn't flowered as heavy, but I've been getting fruit off it since then. And I got 4 fruit off it this year. I got 2 good sized fruit, and that's what all the seeds are that I've planted in these pots from the 2 good sized fruit. And there's 2 smaller fruit in there now. They came on a bit later, and I'll show you those a little bit later. And they should come up. Hopefully they're going to get a fair bit bigger, and I'll pick them soon. But yeah, I want to take air layers from all of these horizontal branches. I want to take quite a few trees. I should have done this in December when it was hotter, but I'm going to try anyway, because there's a lot of good winter sun here, and yeah, these branches are annoying. It's really getting in the way, and it's either make an air layer or just cut them off and throw them away. And I don't want to do that, because yeah, it's a really good strain. It's this Paxton prolific KJ Pink self-pollinating is arguably one of the best custard apples in Australia today. Heavy bearing, delicious fruit. Oh yeah, and anyway, the rave, you know, about these horizontal grafts, these horizontal branches grafted on the rootstock. See, as you can see, for like 5 years it's just growing these damn horizontal branches. But then after about 5 years, they say it'll suddenly send out a water shoot that'll grow upwards. And then they say, well, then it's time to cut all these branches off and let the horizontal branch go. And then finally the tree will grow upwards. But it'll be a really good tree, like super good, heavy bearing tree. That's all the theory behind the grafting a horizontal branch. You know, it's a bit slow for the first 5 years or so. And yeah, according to the rave, it's all worked out true. This is the water shoot. This year it finally sent out the water shoot. But being a custard apple, it's not growing upwards as much as some trees would, because custard apple always tends to have wilting or horizontal downward shaped branches, but this branch is much more upwards, and there's a few of them actually. See, there's another one, that branch too. It sent out about 3 or 4 of these water shoots this year, and really ideally now I should be cutting off all these downward shaping branches and let these branches grow up. And like, yeah, now finally this tree is ready to take off. That's what they say. And it should be in the ground now. Now it should be planted in the ground, because it's ready to become a big tree. And again, I haven't got space for it yet, but hoping soon to have some space on it. And anyway, no rush. With some luck, maybe next spring I'll plant it in the ground. But in the meantime, I want to take air layer grafts from all these horizontal branches. Fingers crossed I might get about 10 new trees. Yeah, then I'll remove those branches and yeah, let these water shoots grow up tall. So yeah, that's the rave, and I'm waiting for a new camera. I'm going to get a head camera so I can show you how I do the air layer. You know, although I'm not all that good at it yet, I've only done it a few times. I'm definitely no expert, but I think a lot of people are interested in air layers. I certainly am, and I've kind of got the general gist. So yeah, I want to put a small GoPro on my head, and I'll show you how I take these grafts. and update you and just let you know how it all goes. Even though, you know, I'll be doing it, what it looks like, that's kind of the plan. I'm hoping to get this camera soon and do this graft soon, even though it's mid-April, you know, it's sort of, it's mid-autumn heading to winter, so it's not a good time to do it. The weather's been unusually warm. It's been a very warm, even hot autumn so far. So, you know, conditions are still good, but I imagine by like the 1st of June is going to be winter, and the first day of winter on the 1st of June, and so I imagine it's, you know, it's going to start getting cold soon. The nights are getting cold now, the days are still hot. So yeah, anyway, that's the rave of that's the story of my custard apple tree. It's been, you know, I've been just playing around with this in a pot here for, I think it's about 6 years now. Just a hobby, yeah. And, yeah, hopefully get these air layers off and let these water shoots, you know, even if I don't plant it in the ground, the water shoots will be, this should be a fairly happy tree here for even a few more years. You know, the water shoots are going to get up high and you'll get a fair bit of sunlight here. Yeah, so yeah, this is my old front garden. A few hanging plants are going quite well. Yeah, big clump of aloe vera up the back there. I should separate that soon. Dragon fruit, I would like to take more cuttings off that. I really would like to plant. I was thinking of self-pollinating varieties to plant in the backyard, but I'm going to plant this strain. This one I've raised from seed because it's a really delicious fruit. That's the main reason. And now I've figured out how to get more fruit off it. At first I wasn't getting as much fruit, but you know, now the tricks I mentioned to you earlier in this video is I'm getting a lot more fruit. So the plan is hopefully to clear more ground, and I'll plant some and let them climb on poles out the backyard in a good sunny spot. Yeah, when I clear more ground, which is not easy because my health is fucked. But anyway, we'll see. Fingers crossed. And I'll just give you a quick look at these trees. See, just cramped in this tight spot here. It's between the car and the fence. You know, but I've had a couple of trees that have, you know, once they get up above the fence, it's I've got a lot of fruit off some good trees here in the past that eventually got that disease, but you know, but even this tree is doing quite all right and flowering. Might put out a few fruit for winter. I'll pick late spring, perhaps early spring, late spring, but yeah, certainly all going well. I'll be getting fruit off them by midsummer, late summer, early autumn. Fingers crossed. Let's hope, as long as this disease doesn't bother me too much. Yeah, so I'll show you now. I'll show you my new extension now, care of the gorillas, who've opened up a lot more land for me. The positive side of the attack by the gorillas. Now, you might remember there used to be a big fence here, and I couldn't get round to the back. And yeah, for many years this has been my garden, just this front part here. But now I've thanks to the gorillas, I've got all this new area. Yeah, and there used to be this big fence. It was this stuff. It was 2 layers of this stuff. I couldn't even see through, you know. If you put your eye really close, you couldn't even see through the cracks of what was going on in the backyard. Yeah, the fence was bashed down, but just recently, I can't do much work, but I try and do a few hours every day, and just recently I've completely taken down this fence so I can walk around the back easy. And yeah, there used to be a lot of overgrowth here, but that's all cleared now. The gorillas cleared most of it for me, actually, and I've cleared the last of it. And so yeah, it's really simple to walk in here now, and I've packed a few things up. There's a lot of wire mesh here that I've rolled up now. I don't know, maybe I'll give it away or sell it one day, or all this wire mesh. Some of it's pretty new, so it's probably got some value for someone. And I planted quite a few more papaya in pots. I do want to put them in the ground. They should have been in the ground already. The plan, I think I've got about 80 or so there. The plan was to clear enough ground to plant them, but I've just, I knew I was going to be struggling to do it. I still haven't cleared the ground. I'm going to get some contractors in to help me though soon, to clear back behind that fence. There's that's not the boundary fence you see there. The boundary fence is another 10 metres or so behind that. I want to clear all that area. It gets a lot of winter sun, and hopefully plant these papayas. These are all dwarf Thai papayas, really heavy bearing. These are my best strain from many years of selectively breeding in the front there. And I've still got more of these seeds, and these are my best, the best of the best. So hopefully if I can stay on top of that papaya disease, it's going to do very well. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I've cleared in there a little bit. But yeah, very difficult, but I'm going to hopefully clear some more. Along that edge there is very sunny. That's where I want to completely rip that out. Because when I was younger and healthier, I could always keep on top of this many years ago. But now it's just too much for me. That's why I got a mate in to help me clear. See, there was a few years ago, this was all completely covered over. It was just total jungle. And my mate cleared out all that middle section. And over a few years, slowly, it was a big help for me. And this thing, yeah, this looks a lot like Ceylon spinach, and this is edible too, but this is like, it's not a noxious weed actually, but it's rampant. It's a really troublesome plant, and it's all through the back here. It came in from a neighbour, and it just got out of control, and it's just too much for me. I can't keep on it. I had that man helping me do that, and he was a big help with that too, keeping that all back. And he was winning, but yet now he's gone because of all the trouble. And don't know where the hell he is now. He's just vanished. And all this is getting away on me again. I've just sort of got to keep trying to keep at it, or else it's going to beat me. And this is where I would like to completely clear this out. Because that's a native mulberry tree. It used to make a good screening hedge, but if you let it go, it will get huge. It'll get as big as these Gravia robustas at the back. It'll grow into a big tree, so it's just, I'm going to take it. I'd like to take it. I should be able to, over the next few months, take all this out, clear it right back, get that troublesome vine out, and then eventually plant dragon fruit along there, because it's a perfect spot for dragon fruit. Just clear that whole edge, and and then hopefully it'll never be a problem for me or the neighbours again. It'll be easy to maintain and it'll bear a lot of good fruit. Because yeah, this is a problem for me and the neighbours. It's always growing into the neighbour's yard. They don't like it. They're great neighbours, by the way. They're really good people and they put up with it. Yeah, hopefully get it out so it'll never bother anyone again. And yeah, and this is where I planted papaya and bananas and all this, and it was going quite well until it got the disease. So I've chopped them all back. That's one of the things they say that can help you deal with it. And I've done it before. It does tend to work. Yeah, these bugs have put disease in the tops. So, and actually, I've been reading about it now, and they say to chop back even harder. But like this tree was twice as big. This is another Hawaiian papaya. This one actually, and that's a male Hawaiian papaya. And that one there is another Hawaiian papaya. And yeah, this tree was more than 12 feet at its best, and had a lot more fruit on it too, but then it started getting the disease, so I've chopped it back. Got a little plastic bag in the top there to stop water getting in it. And fingers crossed it's going to grow out of it. The Hawaiian papaya are a tougher tree. Actually, I'll be surprised if this disease beats them, because they are a much tougher papaya. They're tougher than the dwarf Thai, which is these trees. They tend to be more prone to this disease, I've found. But yeah, I've chopped the tops off all of them, and they've immediately come back. They're throwing out more leaves already, and I find this disease, it only appears around this time of the year. Because of these insects. There's a lot of these insects biting it and spreading the disease. So hopefully when I cut it back, and before long the influx of those insects is going to disappear for another 12 months, and hopefully give me another 12 months of growth before they come back. So that's the plan anyway. And luckily the disease, it's hardly got into these actually, which is good, all these new, young potted plants. It got in a few, so I've cut them back. I was spraying with perethrin. I have seen a few of the bugs in there. I've sprayed with perethrin and so far so good. They're still in pretty good health. They only need to be planted in the ground and they'll take off. So yeah, and these are my ladyfinger bananas, my tissue culture that I bought from Blue Sky Bananas in North Queensland, and completely legal to grow in a backyard now. Tissue culture ladyfinger bananas. I've got a few. I've got a couple there too. So hopefully that's my favourite banana. So. And hopefully no borer is going to move from that patch to this patch. Fingers crossed. And I'll get a fair bit of fruit from that in the years to come. But yeah, like this was quite a lot more bushy until recently. So I've had to chop these plants back. You can see here. Yeah, that again, that's a Hawaiian papaya. Oh look, there's the disease, it's just coming. This is a new one I just planted. That's the first sign of the disease. I don't know if we'll see the bug if I look in here. I wonder if you'll get a chance to see what the bug looks like. It's a prick of a thing. But yeah, what a shame. So yeah, I've got to chop this tree back too now. It's the only way to beat it. And I still could lose. I still could lose here, but fingers crossed. Chop them back, and hopefully they'll get through it, and they'll get even bigger and stronger and have more resistance. And yeah, and in the future, I've probably got to spray a lot more to try and kill these bugs. And hopefully, if I can clear a lot more of all this jungle, there's going to be less of those bugs breeding. I can get more of a controlled environment. Yeah, that's a male of the Hawaiian papaya. So, yeah, and that tree was looking so promising. Oh, look, we got a chemtrail up there. Yeah, they're spraying the chemtrails, and we're in lockdown here too, by the way. There's a whole lot of bullshit going on with the government. Now everybody's living in terror of this so-called disease, you know. It's just all bullshit. When has the government ever been honest with us? When has the media ever told us the truth? The corporate-owned mainstream media. When have they ever told us the truth? Anyway, everyone's in lockdown, living in fear of the disease. And the skies are weird. You know, we never had skies like this. I'm a farmer. I spent my whole life looking at the sky and trying to work out what the weather's doing, when it's going to rain. Look at this shit. What do they call it? All this chemtrail garbage up in the sky. Sickness mix, some people called it, in our skies. Sickness mix. Oh yeah, I don't know if I can show you. You see, it builds up on the branches of my Gavilla robusta. It's not quite the right angle to see actually, but you get this. It never used to happen, but since they're heavily spraying, you see this sort of white. Can't really see there, hey? Build up on the branches from all the toxins they're spraying in the air, and all the artificial cloud they're creating. You know, which is apparently it's got aluminium powder and beryllium, is that it? And there's a few other very dangerous powdered elements of metal. It's very dangerous for health. That are just spraying into the air. Anyway. So yeah, this is good soil. These plants just take off in this soil. So fingers crossed they'll grow a bit slow over winter, and fingers crossed by next spring they'll take off again and I'll get some fruit. I'll keep you updated anyway. If I lose it all, I'll let you know. Fingers crossed. Let's see if I can beat it, huh? Yeah, and as you can see, yeah, these are going quite well. These are only a few months old. And that's where, yeah, I want to get a contractor in and take out this ice cream bean. It's just too big. Like, it's about 20 years old now, and that tree, you know, I'm just not healthy enough to keep it trimmed back anymore. You know, it wants to grow 3 stories high, and it just keeps throwing out these massive horizontal branches. You know, so if I let that thing go, it'll just take a quarter of this yard, and it'll cover a quarter of the house, and another quarter will be in the neighbour's yard. It's, you know, it's just massive. And the fruit's delicious, but, you know, all the animals are onto it now. You don't get much fruit off it anymore. The flying foxes get most of the fruit, and the rats get a lot of the fruit. And, you know, and I get a bit, but, you know, it's a shame. It's a pity this tree wasn't growing on a farm. But it's just not suited for the suburbs. It's just, it throws out horizontal branches. That's the bottom line. And huge horizontal branches. It grows incredibly fast. So it's just too much for me now. And I've had some really good crops off it. You know, but it's got to go. You know, I'll get some contractors in and chop it right out. It's got to go. That's the plan. Chop that out. Chop those native rainforest pioneer trees out. The macarangas. Also, there's a poinciana in there. See the leaves? That thing's massive too. It's another problem tree. Throws out huge horizontal branches. Just you know, the people who planted it stuck it right in the corner. You know, there's people before Mum even planted it, and it's a beautiful tree, but it's just not suited for the suburbs. You know, it just takes over everybody's yard. It wants to take over this yard. It wants to take over 3 neighbours at the back there, their yard. It's the trunk of it's almost a metre thick at the moment. It's a problem tree, and it's got to go. You know, it's a beautiful tree. Pity, planted in the wrong spot. It's got to go. And the plan is I'd like to plant a few dwarf coconuts in that corner, because hopefully that'll be a nice warm corner for some dwarf coconuts, some soursops. They're trees that are not too intrusive and very good fruit, very good for your health. Helps to fight cancer. Yeah, plant a few of those soursops in there, and plant these red papaya. So, and just hopefully it just won't be a problem anymore then. You know, and tame that area. Just tame that jungle. You know, that whole strip there. And that's a good warm spot. Gets a lot of winter sun once I tame it. See, look at all that crappy cloud. We never got shit cloud like that once. We just get it all the time now. You know? And if you talk about it, you're crazy. Hey? Fucking arseholes. Really. They're fucking arseholes. Anyway. Oh, and here's my black sapote. Again, I had 5 black sapote that were growing wild there for many years. I raised some seed, and since I've had access in here, I tried to transplant them, and I found out that they don't transplant well. You know, I pulled out 4, tried to transplant them, and unfortunately they died. You know, they've lived here for 20 years. Almost 15 years anyway, and as soon as I tried to transplant them they died, so I've lost them. So I've decided that this one black sapote, it stays. I'm not going to touch it, it's going to stay there. So, and it's growing quite well now that I've cleared everything around it, you know, and I'll leave that and hopefully get some fruit off it. And I think I told you in another update, I've tried to take some air layers from this black sapote. And I did it at the right time of the year. Yeah, look. See, and it didn't work either. Not even the air layers work. And I don't know if that, who knows, I'll let you know if one of them survives. I took about 10. That one, at least the tree past where I cut is alive. But again, I read somewhere that you can't air layer of black sapote. So yeah, let me know in the comments if any of you think it can be done. But I did read, I read somewhere else it can be done, but I read somewhere someone was saying this is one of the trees you can't take air layers from. But I tried anyway. So yeah, look, nearly all that branch is dead too. Nearly every layer I've taken has failed. And you know, they've had months now. It's the warmest time of the year to send out roots, and I don't know, that one, I'm going to have to check that one soon. Doesn't look like it's done anything. Doesn't look like it's thrown any roots out, but you never know. But yeah, it appears that not even the air layers have worked. So, you know, I'll leave that tree. At least I'll have one black sapote, and hopefully it'll bear fruit by itself. I know even like 15 years ago it was bearing fruit, these trees, but there was 5 in a clump. You know, they were in pots that had got rooted down into the ground, and they were bearing fruit, but then it's all been overgrown and they've been regularly cut back. But who knows, maybe that's going to bear some fruit, we'll see. And whether it does or whether it doesn't, I'd like to buy some more black sapote, especially if I can't get air layers, because it's a very nice fruit, you know. It's worth having a few black sapotes here. And yeah, I've got my dwarf avocado in there. It almost gets killed by all the climbing vines. See, that's that really... Oh, that vine with the flowers, that's really nice. It's not too bad. Really attracts bees. But again, that other vine, it looks like Ceylon spinach. That's a real problem vine. And it just strangles that avocado tree. Again, I've really got to get in there and just clear it right out. And just try and get rid of it once and for all. Because it just always comes back, sends out bulbs. And yeah, this tree with the nice flowers, this vine, it's not a problem vine at all. You can control that vine, but not this vine that looks like Ceylon spinach. It's trouble. It's edible, it's non-toxic. Some people say it could feed the world, that vine, because it grows so quick, but no, it's rampant. It's uncontrollable. And it's a problem in this yard. See, it's all growing up there too. You know, if I didn't keep on it, if I just left that go for a few years, it would just choke this whole forest to death. It's just so rampant, eh? You know, maybe that's good, because I want to get a lot of this forest out, clear it all out and plant fruit trees. Oh yeah, this is going quite well. This just came up by seed. Yeah, this just come up from bird poop. This mulberry. I wouldn't mind taking some air layers from that too, because it either needs cutting back or taking air layers, one or the other. It's not really the best spot for it. I don't know, maybe I can keep it there if I keep it trim, keep part of it there. Yeah, and that's the other patch there with again with papayas that I've had to cut back, and a few veggies, a bit of that perennial spinach, which is very nice, very yummy. A bit of sweet basil, more ladyfinger bananas. Oh yeah, that's another Hawaiian gold papaya. Again, you know, hopefully that can be a very big papaya tree that bears a lot of fruit. Heavy bearer. big, strong tree, plant. Papayas are plants apparently, not trees. And then there's these others are all dwarf Thai reds, Thai red dwarf papayas that yeah, more prone to the disease and this phytoplasma. But hopefully now I've cut them back though. Fingers crossed they might grow through it, we'll see. Time will tell. Yeah, so that's pretty much my update. Big long update today. Hope you like it. Yeah, and thanks to the gorillas, I've got this extra space now. It's easy access. Even I can get in here now. And yeah, I would like to clear it back a lot more. I'd like to get my jackfruit in there. That'd be nice. So you can see all that vine in there again. I'd like to clear it right out. Yeah. We'll see. Maybe with some luck this is the beginning. It'll turn into a nice food forest. Oh yeah, that's a red cedar. It's got quite big now. I was planning to let it grow and then sell the timber. Because you know, it's at the stage now, it's about 20 years old. And you know, in another 20 years, at $5,000 a cubic metre, you know, it's a very valuable timber. But, again, I think I'll chop it out. I'd like to chop it out and plant fruit trees before it gets too much bigger. Chop it out and make room for shade. Get rid of the shade, make room for some sunshine, and plant fruit trees. That's the plan anyway. Oh yeah, a little hibiscus here. A few bits and pieces, a few things salvageable in there. That's an interesting plant too, really. But yeah, I probably would like to clear all that out as well. Sandpaper fig. I'm going to try and transplant that and sell it. Transplant it and sell it to someone eventually. Okay. Well, thanks for watching my update. Yeah, how's that? What a shame. I was hoping that might survive that one papaya, but no. It's got it too. It's got that disease. Okay, well, that's the update. Oh, you're starting to, I don't know if you can see some of those moths. It's been the year of the moth. There's so many thousands upon thousands of moths. Millions even, millions of moths. There's going to be grubs everywhere soon. Yeah, and I've got a little bug zapper in there now. Don't know if you can see that at all. Hopefully it's might even kill some of the, hoping it might even kill some of the bugs that are causing this papaya disease. Yeah, but at the moment it's just killing moths and mosquitoes. Got some neighbours there who are breeding mosquitoes for some crazy reason. They should know it's illegal. I'm wondering maybe they got fish or something, but for some reason they just seem to be breeding mosquitoes on purpose. which you know, we got this big COVID scare. We're all living in fear of this mythical disease, virtually mythical disease, and well, we got neighbours breeding mosquitoes, and people could come down with dengue fever from the mozzies. Just not thinking, yeah, I wonder if they're breeding mosquito larvae to feed fish. I don't know, but it's just so stupid. You know, why would people want to breed mosquitoes? They're just freaking crazy. I think they're southerners and they just don't know how bad mosquitoes can be, you know. Anyway, that's another story for another update. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll let you know how things are going in another month or two. Okay, bye for now. Again, I'll just give you another real quick video, just for my friend who wants to see the roots of these dragon fruit coming down from the patio. See, the patio's on the second story. These dragon fruit are really pot bound. Been here 10 years on that patio, and see here the roots. Hope you can see that it's getting a little dark. Look at that. Seeing these roots were growing right into my veggie garden here again. Just come down from the in between the floorboards of the patio. See that in there? Sending down a few like that. I've already chopped that back, but it's re-rooted again. See, and look, there's, what's that? 9, 10 feet, 9 or 10 feet, 12 feet of roots. Yeah, probably more like 12 feet. I'm not good at measuring distance. Just coming down in between the floorboards from the dragon fruit. And there's a quick vision of my fruit I picked. That's a good size, eh? Good size dragon fruit. Really delicious. Really good eating variety. Not bad, eh? Got 4 there. I picked one yesterday. I think there's another one still up there that I'll get from the other side. Okay, thanks for watching. Hello again, just another quick update. These 4 dragon fruit I picked today from my fruit that I raised from seed. A 15-year-old dragon fruit raised from seed. See, and that's a pretty good size, eh? It's not a self-pollinating variety, but I figured out a way to get them fruiting more heavy and bigger fruit. And see, and that's a really delicious fruit. It's, maybe I haven't tried any other varieties, but I like this a lot, and I think I'll stick to this because it's good. It's good fruit, hey? Really nice. Yeah, I'll cut it open for you. Give you a look, because I'm going to eat them right now. I just picked them. Now I'm going to eat them. Look at that, eh? Oh man, it's so good. So delicious. And I'll just show you something else. I'll just give you a quick look at something else. Maybe it's getting too dark to show you. Just a quick look out of the backyard here. I don't know, can you see that? Oh, you might see all the moths. There's just millions of moths. The year of the moth. Can you see that? Yes, there. See, you can see that, right? That's my happy plants flowering. Yeah, they flowered about a month ago and now they're flowering again. They flower at night. They only just opened now. They've been closed, well, they've been growing for the last couple of weeks, and tonight's the first night they've opened. And the perfume is superb. They smell so good. Yeah, it's just open now, and now they'll open every night for, I don't know, a few nights. 4, 5, 6 nights. Beautiful perfume. And yeah, a really nice plant. I'm not chopping those down. That can stay. And you can see that that's the, well, that one's probably going to flower too tonight, or the next night. And then there's some others there. I don't know if you can see what they've finished flowering. They've even got a few seeds. And that's the flowers from that vine again. Very good for bees. But yeah, apparently whenever happy plants flower, it means the owner will come into money. Because yeah, one of the other names for them is money plant. And they need a fair bit of age before they will flower. But yeah, apparently whenever they flower, the owner will come into money. So I wonder, hey? What are the chances? Did somebody loan me a shotgun? I'll go and rob a bank. I think that's maybe one of the only ways I'm going to make any money. And, you know, and that'd be foolish, of course. I'd never do that. But yep, apparently, who knows? Doesn't hurt to think positive, I guess. Maybe the happy plants are blessing me. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.